Warning, we are not trained or licensed professionals. Do not take any advice that we give as official doctoral prescribed medical treatment. We only use the name as a means to appreciate cinema as a therapeutic device, not to be confused with drugs, antidepressants, or any other forms of enhancements that you might find in legal states. Please enjoy responsibly.
Additional disclaimer. If the film says we can say it too. So check the film rating, and that will be our episode rating.
You know, ironically, with the movie with like about wine, we don't drink wine, but next week we do.
I think it got into our heads a little bit because I went to the grocery store and they were having a wine tasting, and I tasted the wines, and then I ended up buying one, even though I'm not a wine person, but it was just really good, and I was like, damn you, Paul Giamatti, you suck.
Or that movie just drove us to drink because you didn't enjoy it at all, and I just thought it was okay.
Yeah, that's probably it too.
I still love the fact that immediately when it was done, because this is what I do, is I went to Letterboxd to review it, and I saw you were like, half star, and I'm like, oh, Jesus. And you written a review, and I was just like laughing my ass off. I'm like...
Yeah, I was like 2 minutes ahead of you, and I had already written a Letterboxd review. We're here to talk about Sleepwalkers, because it's been too dang long, us going in this podcast without us really going over Sleepwalkers, and it's one of the best movies. If you haven't watched it, please go watch it. It's worth every dollar you spend renting it, or every virus you get from downloading it onto your computer and streaming it illegally. It's so great. We are very excited to talk about it today.
We really don't say this often, but really, this is one of the best movies that we have ever seen.
Yep.
Ever. Like the before movies are also on that list, but this movie just has... It's great for all the completely different reasons.
Yes. It's like the light at the end of a dark tunnel. That is 2020. And this episode comes out in 2021. Happy 2021, everybody.
Session 21 in 2021.
Oh my goodness. It's perfect.
It is perfect. Everything lines up. Everything happens for a reason. Sometimes things happen for a reason. Hey, June, that's a beautiful dress. Is that for April's wedding?
What?
I said, is that for April? It was part of the quote. I'm like, hey, June, that's a beautiful dress. Is that for April's wedding?
What is that from? The Secret Life of Bees?
What the fuck is The Secret Life of Bees? No.
I don't know, but they have characters named like May, June, and April or something.
No. This is from the action This is from the action modern classic Night and Day. Tom Cruise lands on the hood of Cameron Diaz's car and says, hey, June, that's a beautiful dress.
Yep.
During a high-speed chase.
I remember that.
Great movie.
It's a nice movie.
I remember because I'd seen it like a few times when it came out, and then I remember like when I said, have you seen Night and Day? And you said yes, I was so like, yay, someone else has seen it. And they don't think it's total shit. I love it.
Yeah, it's fun. I like those like action comedy movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like Date Night with Steve Carell and Tina Fey.
We could honestly do an entire commentary on this movie, but to save probably 5 minutes of time, we're just gonna go in scene by scene. Do you want to recap it, or would you rather I recap it?
You can go for the recap.
Okay. So this movie, the greatest film ever made, this movie is about... How do you summarize a movie like this? Because every scene is more amazing than the last scene. Every scene builds in intensity and horror and comedy, and it's this perfect blend of all of those genres and of cinema in general. So I'm just going to do my best to try to summarize it very briefly. So this high school guy named Charles and his mother, they move to a new town, and Charles is the new kid, and he has a crush on this girl named Tanya, played by Shelley from Twin Peaks. And
an extreme crush.
Yeah, extreme crush. He carves her name is Tanya, and he carves a T into his name. So that's
the first time we see him.
Yes, it is the first time we see him. What an introduction! Much better than Paul Rudd's introduction in The Curse of Michael Myers, which is an abysmal movie. But anyway, so Charles and his mother move to a new town, and Charles is kind of a loner. Him and his mom don't have a lot of money, and the only thing he really has is his fancy schmancy car. So he and Tanya hit it off, and she invites him to this thing called Homeland, which is like the local cemetery. and they're gonna take pictures there and do like, what is it? Something with the graves. What is it?
Gravestone rubbings.
Yeah. So they're gonna go do that, and then that's like their first date. So first date at a cemetery. That's good. But Charles and his mother are revealed to be sleepwalkers, and they're these like werecat type creatures that needs the souls of humans, specifically young women, to live, to feed on. That's Charles' secret intention, is to get Tanya's soul for essence or whatever for his mother to feed her. And there's also this cop who is the greatest cop in cinema history, no doubt in my mind, 100% serious. And then this cop finds out about Charles, but he's very suspicious of Charles. So Charles and Tanya go to the cemetery, and from there the movie just takes so many turns of weirdness and insanity, and it's beautiful and it's batshit. And I don't want to say anything else because you really can't describe the plot. You just have to experience it, because really, I'm 100% serious. Every scene just builds on the last, and every scene gets more insane, and it just ends literally explosively and in an explosive climax, and it's just an incredible experience. So this movie set a pedestal of batshit insanity, and no matter how many other movies I see, none of them hit the genius level that this movie does, unfortunately.
Yeah, because like if you saw Vampire's Kiss before Sleepwalkers, you'd probably think it was awesome.
And of course, Nicolas Cage's performance in Vampire's Kiss was awesome, but the movie itself was just kind of, whatever. I wish his level of Nicolas Cage from Vampire's Kiss was in this movie, because then it would be better than perfect. It would be sincerely the greatest movie of all time, even though it already is.
Okay, so there's a lot of characters in here and actors that you've seen other places that you maybe quite can't put your finger on, but we're here to tell you every single one. So first, the main character, Charles. I don't know any of their real names, but I'm just going to say...
to help. It's Brian Krause, I believe.
Brian Krause. Okay, so he's in Charmed. He plays the character Leo in the original 90s Charmed. Mm-hmm. And when he's older, he did this movie before that. And then his girlfriend, Tanya, kind of girlfriend. And her name is it Madchen Amick?
Yes. I don't know if we have that pronunciation right, so if we got it wrong, we're very sorry.
Yeah. So she's in Riverdale. She's Betty's mom. And she was also in Twin Peaks, like the year before Sleepwalkers, right?
Yes, right before. Because Fire Walk with
Riverdale
Me came out
sucks.
the same year. Yeah, fuck Riverdale. Madchen, we love you, but fuck Riverdale.
Then Charles's mom, don't know her name.
Alice Krieg is the actress's name.
Alice Krieg. She is in The Little Vampire. She plays the vampire's mother in that movie.
Yeah, she's very good at playing mothers. I apologize. I have to get this off my chest. So Riverdale, a quick tangent. I watched season 1 because my sister really liked it, and she's like, Jake, just watch the first season.
Oh, yeah.
And then I felt very mixed on it. But there's things I liked, but there's things I despised at the same time. Then I watched Twin Peaks right around the time I started college, like after my first semester. And of course I fell in love with Twin Peaks, obviously. And it made me hate Riverdale more because I'm like, the things that Twin Peaks is intentionally poking fun at, like the soap opera stuff that it, portrays, Riverdale does that as its serious drama, like 25 years later. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? It drove me insane. But yeah, Madchen's in that. Okay, I'm back, please.
Okay, so you can take care of Ferris Bueller's parents, right? And then the teacher from something? Back to the Future.
What? No, Beetlejuice.
Oh, Beetlejuice. The teacher from Beetlejuice plays...
The teacher in this movie is played by Otho from Beetlejuice.
Oh, yes, okay.
Mr. Phallus? Is that his name? Fallows? Great name. And then Tanya's parents are the same actors who played Ferris Bueller's parents, and they got married when they filmed Ferris Bueller. And I don't know if they were still married when this movie came out. I'd assume so. And then they divorced sometime in the 90s.
Aww.
Yeah, which is sad. But
that's cute, though. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they met like on Ferris Bueller, and then they were in this movie.
Okay.
So they married when Ferris Bueller started, and then when like after they filmed that, and then after filming Sleepwalkers is when they got divorced. So it's like the beginning and ending of their marriage.
Oh. And then anyone else? Oh, Stephen King has a cameo.
Stephen King, John Landis, Toby Hooper, Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker
Mark
himself.
Hamill, what the heck?
Why does Tanya have her own Wikipedia page? She's the only character from Sleepwalkers to have her own Wikipedia page.
What?
Character arc. That should be reserved for Charles, but...
Yeah. But yeah, lots of fun people in this movie.
Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill, he's like one of the first characters you see.
Yeah, too bad he's not in it more.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's like a ton of cats in this movie, which is why I love it. And the cats are the heroes of this movie. The cats kill the sleepwalkers. The sleepwalkers are these like disgusting creatures. So they can look human, and then they can look kind of like a hybrid, and then they can look like this weird naked mole rat reptilian alien thing.
I mean, Rufus from Kim Possible looks more appealing than these two.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The soundtrack too, all the songs are just great. Like the song from Enya at the end credits, that's great. The Sleepwalk song is great. But then of course we have the rodeo song sung by the best cop in movie history.
Oh my gosh, yes. It's great. So let's start with scene 1.
We're gonna go scene by scene, mostly. So the first scene, we see Mark Hamill and another cop, and they see a bunch of dead cats hanging on the wall.
By the tree, from the tree.
From the tree, yes, thank you. From the tree. And then they go into the house and they open the door, and the skeleton pops out, and the skeleton screams. And the skeleton has braces. What else do you need to start a fucking movie? Luke Skywalker finding a screaming skeleton with braces on it.
Yes,
Newly
the sound
minted
effect.
braces.
I didn't even realize that the sound effect like it makes a scream as she falls out of the closet. That's ridiculous. And yeah, so then they're like, oh, it was a girl, and it was from somewhere in Ohio. And then we see our main characters, Charles and his mother, dancing
to
in
a
their
great song.
house. to
Aren't
that
they
great
just
song.
a lovely couple?
Do, 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 do. Something like that.
They're just a lovely couple.
Yeah, so they're being all romantic, and then they eventually kiss, and
But
we're like, what the hell?
We don't know they're related yet. The first instinct is like, oh, they're a couple.
Yeah, because they don't look that far in age.
They probably weren't, actors-wise.
Yeah, and then after they kiss, he calls her mom, and then we're like, what the fuck?
That might not even be till like the scene after.
I think it's I don't know. I mean, I think it's not during the dancing, but right after that part.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. You're probably right. Next scene, we cut to the movie theater, and Tanya has her headphones on and is dancing. And when I first saw the movie, I'm like, the movie's not going to get any better than this. Oh boy, was I wrong. But it's still a good scene.
Then Charles sneaks up on her and is like, hey, can I have some popcorn? And then they flirt, and then he kind of asks her out. And then she bites her lip like a bazillion and a half times.
Why does that matter? Why does that matter?
Because it's her only move.
Oh.
If she had some other move, like not biting her lip, that would be...
Oh, now I get what you mean. Now I get it. I was just thinking it was like a business type thing, you know, that the actors would do. But then when you say that's like a move, I'm like, yeah, you really need different moves. Like, you can't just do the same one over and over.
And then...
Doesn't like Charles go home and then his mom's like, oh, it's my son. And then that's like when you realize that they're supposed to be mother and son.
I'm pretty sure
like
he
confirmed.
says mom in the first scene, but I could be wrong.
We could just check the movie.
Yeah, we could.
But no, we're not going to do that.
That's okay.
Yeah, we don't need to do that.
And yeah, because then they get all romantic again, right? Or do they have a fight and she slaps him?
No, that's when they get romantic. They don't have a fight until like the next time, I think.
Okay, next iconic scene.
Then we cut to the next morning where Charles is at school, and then his teacher finds his classmate's drawing, and it's a great drawing. It's absolutely hilarious. And then then the teacher whacks a student with a ruler and tells him to pay attention. And then Charles tells his life story as a fictional story, and Tanya just is enamored with it. And then they flirt some more after school, and he drives her home and meets her parents, Ferris's parents. Mom, at least. So Charles's teacher pulls him over in the car and mentions like wanting to do things with him. So then Charles pulls his hand in the car.
Do things with him? What do you mean?
Because he says to Charles like he gets down up in his face and he goes, oh, you're so concerned about money this, money that. Well, money is not the only way of getting. And then he says whatever. And then Charles takes his hand, rips it off, and says, you know what, Mr. Phallus, you're right. People should really keep their hands to themselves. here's yours. And he gives him back his severed hand. And then he runs away, blood going everywhere, and the teacher yells, I'm sorry, and then he gets killed, and it's great. It's great.
That's the first, like, what the actual fuck scene.
And then Charles is speeding, and then we see the cop for the first time talking to Clovis. Get the bad guy. Get the bad guy.
He's a cop with a little tabby cat, big fat tabby cat, riding in his passenger seat.
Named Clovis.
His name's Clovis. He's the best.
He just loves his cat Clovis. And I mean, you know, the love you have for a pet, I totally relate to that. So you really feel the bond between him and Clovis. And then Charles speeds by, so then the cop, Andy, and his name is Andy, and Clovis, they give chase. And then when they're driving side by side, they're going about 90 miles an hour, so, you know, they can basically see straight on each other because they're going side by side and so fast. And then Clovis looks at Charles, and that scares Charles, and he goes through all these different forms.
His face just, like, morphs into several different things.
It morphs into, like, young Charles, like baby Charles, a cat.
And his, like, creepy cat person, and his real self, and then he's just like, whoa, cat, I hate cats.
And then the cop's reaction is the audience's reaction.
Oh, yeah, so the Sleepwalker people can also choose to become invisible and choose to shapeshift objects, I guess, around them. So he can, like, change the way his car looks. He changed it from a Trans Am to a Mustang, and...
He can go invisible, too.
Yeah, he can go dim, is what they call it.
Go dim.
But then Clovis can still see him as he goes dim, and he's, like, shouting at him. He's like, stop staring at me, you fucking cat!
Cat?
That's so funny.
Fucking cat. It's so great. It's great. Then he goes home, and he and his mom have a fight, and then they have sex. And then he takes Tanya to Homeland.
So messed up, dude.
And then there's, like, this weird purple ectoplasm window. Like...
Yeah.
You don't want to know. You don't want to know what we see.
It's nasty.
We're not talking about that. So, like you had brazenly just skipped past for us before I brought us back. Charles takes Tanya to Homeland.
She starts taking pictures of him. She's, like, having a good time. He's trying to do some gravestone rubbings, but he sucks at it.
Yeah, he does suck at it. As you so eloquently pointed out the last time we watched it, which was yesterday. Wednesday.
Today's Thursday.
So Tanya and Charles try to get to know each other real well.
That's right. They do. Then they end up kissing, and Charles is, like, starting to take it too far, and Tanya's like, wait, let's slow down. And then he starts to attack her and starts to suck her soul out of her body. And she's like, wait, no, I didn't think that this would happen. And he's like,
isn't this the excitement you wanted?
Yes. Is this the excitement you wanted, Tanya? Oh my god, this movie.
It's great.
Oh, I guess we forgot to mention that this is one of Stephen King's few screenplays he wrote, not a book or a short story turned into a movie. He wrote the screenplay.
God, I wish it was a short story or a book, because I would read that multiple times. It would probably explain everything about the Sleepwalkers that, like, the movie doesn't.
Yeah, I think we could use, like, a backstory or, like, an origin story. I think I would enjoy that movie.
Or a sequel, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah. And so then Tanya runs off. Oh, yeah, the cop comes. She runs off toward the cop, and she's like, help, help. Oh, yeah, she corkscrews Charles.
In the eye.
In the eye.
Hey, Tag, where the hell's the corkscrew? Love you,
Yes,
Crispin
a little
Glover.
throwback. Yeah, she gets him good, but then he still... And then he lays there for a minute, and she's like, Charles? And she stands there and freaking doesn't run away. And then, of course, he wakes back up and attacks her again. And then the
Look at
cop
this
comes.
shirt! My mom's gonna kill me!
Yeah, he's worried about the blood on his shirt. Sheriff comes.
Singing his
Clovis
rodeo
does
song.
some attacking. Oh, yeah. Can you sing the song?
I'm not singing the song.
Aw. Can you say the words to the song?
It's the words itself I don't want to say. But it cuts
Johnny
back
and
to
his
him
pepper.
twice. Yes, that's why I don't want to say it.
Something like that.
And he's off to the rodeo. It's great. It's transcendent. This movie's transcendent.
Yeah, we're just like, your jaw just drops at that moment. You're like, we're in this. We're watching this movie now.
The scene it juxtaposes that him singing the rodeo song with is like this intense scene where Charles is trying to get Tanya and Tanya's trying to get out of it, and then we just cut to the cop driving like on a normal Sunday with Clovis going, "Get off the stage, you jerk."
Yes, that's just his normal day to day.
It's beautiful, and it's a real song too.
Yeah. Okay, so the cop comes, and then
You might be familiar with the scene in The Dark Knight when the Joker takes a pencil and puts a mobster's eye, like a pencil through a mobster's eye. You know, pretty famous, iconic moment. Mm-hmm. But the even more iconic moment that came first that you probably don't know about is when the Tanya's telling the cop, you know, like, hurry up, he's not human, we got to get out of here. But the cop's like, you know, slow down, take your time. And Charles takes a pencil and jams it into his ear and throws him away and yells, "Cop Kabob!"
he just like gets in Tanya's face and is like, "Cop Kabob!" And she's like, "Ah!"
and then the cop is still alive somehow, even though there's a pencil in his like head, and he tries to shoot Charles, and then Charles like flinches and turns around and goes, "I don't believe you fired a warning shot, officer." And then he grabs the gun and kills the cop, and it's really like underwhelming and sad because he's the best character in the movie. So rip Andy. But it gives Clovis revenge for later.
Right, it's Clovis's motivation.
Charles gives us a taste of the one-liners that his mother will repeat later, so that's how we know where he gets his one-liners from. So anyways, so Clovis jumps up onto Charles and attacks him, and Charles is really badly hurt. So he gets in the car and drives off and goes home to his mom. And then his mom tries to nurse him back to health, but it's pretty clear that he's going to die pretty soon if he doesn't get, you know, some essence. So the cops show up along with Stephen King, who he's not taking the blame for any of this.
Because he's the owner of the cemetery?
Yep. The owner of the
like
cemetery
shows
shows
everyone.
Up. He's like, "Hey, buddy, I'm not taking the blame for this one." Yeah, good job, Stephen. Good job taking yourself out of the blame there.
Right. That's kind of funny.
So the other cops, like the sheriff, like I don't know the actor's name, but it's the sheriff, and then Ron Perlman's also one of the cops. The rest of the police force show up.
Why is Ron Perlman in this movie?
Because it makes the movie better. So the remaining police force show up and take Tanya back home, and she says, you know, "Can you bring the cat when you come by later?" And the sheriff says, "Sure." And then they find out that it was Charles, and then they go to his house to try to arrest him, but they find no one there because his mom made the both of them dim, as they call it. Then what's the next scene? Isn't it like this is when the carnage begins?
Is it like, does it go back to Tanya's house?
Yeah, so it goes back to Tanya's house.
Because Tanya's still recovering from the afternoon, and she's like in the bathtub.
Because Tanya has a Nightmare on Elm Street moment where she's in the bathtub and then she wakes up from a bad dream. Then Mrs. Brady shows up at the house to get Tanya. She passes it off as like coming to apologize for Charles's behavior, but he's like ill, so he can't be there. Firstly, to get out of the house, the mom is invisible, and then the cops get out of the car because they see the door close, and they're like, "Show yourself." And then they don't see anything, and they're like, "What was it? Maybe it was the wind."
Also, yeah, this whole time there's like a bunch of cats coming and surrounding their house.
Oh yeah, we forgot about that.
And they're like super scared of them. It's like really silly. All these cute little kittens are coming up, and then Charles and his mom are inside like cowering. They're like, "Oh my god,
cowering in fear." Die. And that's why the mom won't leave the house, because she's scared of the cats. But now she's got to save her son, so that gives her the determination and the power to overcome her fear. So anyway, it's really a beautiful story along the lines of like Psycho.
It's a good Mother's Day film.
Yeah. This and Psycho, it's a good double feature. And fun fact, Psycho 4 was directed by Mick Garris, who also directed this, and also The Stand, which is like a 6 hours long. So the original Stand, because there's a new adaptation coming out.
Is it
now? Today? Today, yeah, I think.
Whoa.
Today or tomorrow, which dates this episode. Anyway, so Charles's mom overcomes her fear to save her son, comes out and attacks the two cops, and it's the greatest thing ever.
Oh my god.
Do you want to describe it?
She grabs one by the neck, she grabs the other one by the neck, and she just shoves their heads together. It doesn't even look like they hit each other. It just looks like their faces are getting smashed, and then they're dead.
You're right. It was not the fucking wind.
It was not the wind.
Maybe it was the wind. It was not the fucking wind. Gong, gong.
Oh my gosh, yes. One-liners, perfect.
Yeah, her one-liners are perfect. So then she shows up at the house as you know, she shows up at the house and talks to Ferris or Tanya's dad and says, "Hi, I'm Mrs. Brady. Can I come in?" And then she smashes a vase in his face, and Ferris's dad goes like flying, and then Ferris's mom runs in and goes, "Horace," because that's the cop's name. But then Mrs. Brady comes in and picks her up and throws her through a window, and it's a window jump that Jason himself would be proud of.
Mm-hmm.
And then Horace the cop comes up and tries to shoot Mrs. Brady, but he's like the worst shot ever.
Yeah, seriously, so bad.
He shoots everything around her in her perimeter except for her. So then she walks over and he's on the phone trying to phone the police, and she picks up a corn cob that was left over from dinner. It's set up earlier, and she just stabs Horace with a corn cob. And never before has a movie impacted me on such a deep personal level. There's many moments in cinema that just affect me on such a deep level, like the catharsis of Laura Palmer or the ending of Stand By Me. But this scene right here is so deeply powerful and just so moving and so exquisite and transcendent, and there's really no words I have to describe it. I'm just kidding. It's fucking hysterical. It's so bad. It's so great. She stabs the policeman with a fucking corn cob, which is the most like blunt object ever, and he bleeds from it. There's a shot where there's blood and corn going down his back.
And he just dies.
And he just dies. He's dead.
From one jab of the corn cob.
So Mrs. Brady grabs Tanya and drags her out by like her hair, and then the other cops are coming by, but she manages to get a gun off of Ron Perlman before killing him by like bending his arm back, and the bone snaps out, and she whacks him in the head with his own elbow.
Oh yeah,
and bites his fingers off. So then Ron Perlman's dead. Then she takes his gun, and to hold the police off, she shoots it at 2 police cars, and both of them spontaneously combust. I mean, this movie's got it all. There's whatever you want, it's in this movie, except for Nicolas Cage. And then when she stabs him with the corn cob, I forgot, her one-liner is, "No vegetables, no dessert. Those are the rules." Yeah, what the
fuck?
Like, what does that mean?
Even come from?
Yeah, what does it even mean?
What does that mean?
And then she takes Tanya back to the house, and then she makes Tanya dance with Charles, and Charles, where it should have been his redemption moment, instead he just dies because Tanya stabs him and like with her pokes her finger in his eyes, and he dies. And then the sheriff comes in.
She just goes for the eyes.
Yeah, sheriff comes in, shoots the mom, and then she just turns into a sleepwalker instead of dying. And the sheriff throws away his shotgun, which is such a genius move. And then he runs outside. She picks up the sheriff, like he gets caught in the cat trap. So then she picks him up and throws him onto the picket fence where he dies from impalement. And then she tries reaching for Tanya, and then Clovis and all the other cats come up and attack Mrs. Brady, and she spontaneously combusts and dies. And then Tanya picks up Clovis, and then that's the end of the movie.
She says, "It's just you and me now, Clovis. It's just you and me." Even though her mom's still alive.
Oh yeah, her mom survived her window jump, and there's no other movie like this. Nothing. I've searched high, I've searched low, I've searched in the middle. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing, and it's so unique and just it's incredible. There's no movie that reaches the amount of batshit hysteria and insanity that this movie does, but that's why it's so good, man. It's a good movie.
It's like, a lot of satire or satirical scary movies, like the Scary Movie franchise, and like a lot of B-list horror movies, they're like bad and they didn't mean it for it to be bad, or they're good, they're like actual comedy movies that are making fun of scary movies. But this is like a serious satire that Stephen King made. Like, this is a masterpiece of like his creative writing. He knows it's ridiculous, but he's like doing everything he can to like put it off as like very serious. That's what makes it good for me. I think it's just so funny the way that like what must have been going on in his mind. He's like, as he's writing these one-liners, I bet that would be so fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Because he's like a good writer.
He's a very good writer. He's
obviously.
Obviously. I mean, how many we could stand here and talk about all the good things he's written and all the bad things he's written. Yeah, so Sleepwalkers is genuinely one of the craziest movies I've ever seen, and I genuinely think it's great. Like, it's a great movie. There's no other movie like it, and that's why it's such a good movie, because it's so unique and so weird and so awesome.
Yeah.
So neither of us have seen this. I couldn't find it online, but there's a featurette on the Scream Factory Blu-ray release, where Brian Krause and Madchen Amick discuss the movie, obviously, and then they discuss possible ideas for a sequel. So,
Oh my goodness.
but we talked about some ideas for a sequel as well, because every a movie as great as this really does need a second follow-up, of course. Or a second movie, because I say second follow-up, that sounds like 3 movies. So it wouldn't be called Sleepwalkers 2, because this movie's too good for that. It would have to be called something like Two Sleep, Two Walkers, right? And it would star both of them, Madchen Amick and Brian Krause. I don't know if it was you or I who said this first. There's a scene where Charles and his mother are talking, and his mother says, we can't be the only ones left. There's got to be other sleepwalkers out there. Turns out there are. There's like a little coven of sorts of sleepwalkers. And
Yeah.
the sequel's about Tanya going to find them, and the coven of sleepwalkers resurrects Charles and his mother, so then Charles can have his redemption arc that he should have had in this movie.
Yes.
But yeah, we're gonna do everything. We're gonna put it in the Instagram post. We're gonna hashtag it. We're gonna get it trending. We're gonna tag Madchen Amick and Brian Krause so they can see it. Stephen King will tag him too, because he's got to write it. Especially how many pointless sequels are made to a horror franchise. Why can't Sleepwalkers be like a duology at the very least?
Because it's too good.
Yeah, exactly. Also,
too
now
good.
it would be all CG, and it wouldn't be. It'd probably
would
be like the
suck.
Lost Boys sequels or something, where it's just like
Yeah.
has none of the good things of the original, except I guess those did have Corey Feldman, but
Yeah, no. I think it's great the way it is. We just got to accept it. And I mean, granted, yes, it could have changed a few things. Like Charles would have been nice to, kill his mother, but I just think, he's an evil being. He's a sleepwalker. They're evil. They can't win. Like if a cat doesn't like you, you're evil. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I say.
But then they have that like weird setup for him where like he has that hesitation, and then you think it's like going to lead to something, but it never really does.
Yeah.
So I thought that like, when they're dancing in that moment, like at the end, his mom could have been like, okay, now's the time to kill her, Charles. He acts like he's going to, but instead he does something else, and he ends up like stabbing his mom in the eye or something, and then she like kills him, and then that's like he wouldn't survive. He can die. But having that little like moment would be a payoff to
Yeah.
a weird sort of setup earlier. That's not really a setup, it's just not very good writing. But I like to think it's a setup because,
Yeah.
it makes the movie
Yeah.
better and more fun.
Even though we aren't really rooting for Tanya and Charles anymore because
No.
of the bad way he treated her. But yeah, he just like,
But to give him
he's like a hateable protagonist.
yeah, like when you said you watched Love Actually and you missed the pivotal scene for the hateful character, it's like that.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah.
Like he just needs that one little like redeeming moment, so then he's not a total like scumbag in our eyes.
But he is.
Yep, he is.
When I get a cat, I'm going to name him Clovis.
That's the only name to name a cat.
Yeah. And I decided that as soon as I watched this movie for the first time.
Yeah.
I was commenting when we were watching the movie, and you're like, if you point out everything that's wrong with this movie, we're going to be here for 2.5 years. And I was like, yeah, I know. What did you say?
What did you say, first of all, that made me say that?
Or I was like, why aren't the cats just attacking
Yes.
her as soon as she walks out the front door?
Then I said, Maddie, if you list every single flaw with this movie, we'll be here until Christmas. 2073.
Yes.
Which I can't take credit for that. That's not, I didn't come up
Oh, yeah, because like the cats don't attack her until she's halfway, or until she was done killing the cop. Then the cats are like, all right, that's it. Even though they've been stalking her for days. Oh, they had that scene where Charles recaps his life story as a fictional tale. He talks about sleepwalkers and like how he's lived in pain and
that. Oh, yeah.
like all solitude, and he's like reading this beautiful thing, and Shelly.
How would you call her Shelly, too?
Tanya is just like drooling over him, and then the teacher's like, any thoughts about Charles' story? And she raises her hand. She's like, I liked it. We're like, oh my god. And then she bites her lip
Again.
3 times. Like, why can he just turn his car into a Mustang whenever he wants?
Because it's Stephen King on cocaine, that's why. No other explanation necessary.
Can he change anything else, I wonder?
I don't know.
Like, what would be another thing you could change? You could change your house. you could change, but it doesn't last forever. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm. But that's what's gonna happen in the sequel. Is like Tanya's gonna go up to a house and it's gonna change every time she goes to it.
Interesting. Do you think there are werecats out there living among us?
Oh, in real life?
Mm-hmm.
Hard to say.
Hard to say.
Do they feel lonely like we do? That's the real question. Do you really feel alone like the characters in your story? Sometimes.
I don't know. I like the idea of werewolves and werecats, but they aren't something that I'm convinced of. That's for sure. Like you've heard ghost stories, you hear about Bigfoot stories and other cryptid stories, but I've never heard one about like a werewolf or a werecat. So I'm gonna have to say I don't believe in them.
I once saw a conversation between these two guys. They were talking about like Bigfoot and UFOs and what's most likely to be real. And then one of them was like, oh, it's like UFOs are more real than Bigfoot. And then his friend was like, I think Bigfoot's the most likely to be real because it's just like a big like ape. And his friend was like, you mean Bigfoot's more real than UFOs? And he's like, wait, like UFOs? And he's like, no, not like the paper plate, like the flying saucer UFOs, but like alien life. It's like that's like the most likely. And I'm like, that makes sense.
Dude, I've been getting way into aliens like starting today.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. Watch the X-Files. At least most of it.
I know. It's just like I like the idea of it, but it's one of those shows I don't think I could watch all of it because it's like the same thing every episode, and I'm not really into those types of shows.
That's true. The show really has like single story episodes and then like the overarching like story episodes. So there's like lists online to delve between both. A lot of people like the like episodic ones better, but I like the overarching story arc ones better because that's what I got more invested
I think
in.
Manoa does too. Yeah, because he likes watching. Well, right now he's rewatching Scrubs, and it's kind of that same way. It's like a procedural where.
Oh really? I thought Scrubs was more like Seinfeld or something.
It's kind of like Seinfeld, but only in a doctor's office.
Okay.
But then he's like, no, it's important because the overall story and like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and everything. He just doesn't understand why I don't like want to watch every episode of a show like that. It's just because like I can get the funny jokes and I can understand the storyline if I watch like 3 episodes from each season.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't need to watch every episode. Something like Breaking Bad or like something more like that is like you have to watch every episode or else you're going to be lost the next episode. You're not going to know what's going on. So
well. That's what I liked about the X-Files like story because that's like how the story episodes are definitely is like season 1 has like let's say like 5 of the 20 plus episodes are like story related and like they carry over and you have to like watch them to know like what's going on in the next like story episode.
Yeah, like Adventure Time.
Yeah, it's very similar to Adventure Time actually in that regard. It's not like Twin Peaks where you have to see every episode. Well, for at least like most of it, You can skip the rough patch in season 2 because we don't need to see James getting with that blonde woman that's trying to kill him. That's the worst part of Twin Peaks.
So bad. So there's this quiz online about Sleepwalkers facts. Would you like to play it?
Sure.
I'm just gonna quiz you because this is really easy. Okay. What was the last name of
Brady.
Charles? What was the name of the girl at school who Charles tries to kill?
Tanya. Is Shelley one of the possible answers?
No, it's not. Do you know her last name?
Is it Robertson?
Yes, it is. Okay, what was the name of Charles's mother? Oh, we were talking about
Mary?
this. It is Mary. What animal had the ability to kill a sleepwalker? Oh my god, this is
Cat.
lame. Could sleepwalkers make themselves invisible? Yes or no?
Yes. No, the answer is no, because they make themselves dim, not invisible.
I'm going to say
you,
yes.
quiz.
I think they mean the same thing. Did Stephen King make an appearance in this movie?
Yes.
Yes or no?
The question was going to be, was Stephen King on cocaine when writing this? Probably.
When Charles or his mother were to be seen in a mirror, what did they look like?
Their actual selves.
Oh my god. The options are like humans, like fish, like frogs, like sleepwalkers.
Like Sleepwalker.
Who played the character Charles?
Brian Krause.
Did Charles and his mother die?
As far as we know, yes.
Did Charles kill one of his teachers from school? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, he did. So you got 100% on the quiz. Good job.
Hey. Okay, I got some questions for you now. What year did this movie come out?
Oh, 92.
What is the cop's name Character name.
Andy.
What is Ron Perlman's character's name?
Oh God. Rick.
I meant like his last name, but maybe that's right.
What's his last name?
I think it's Zones.
Zongs?
Like Soames. Saomes. So I didn't even know that.
Oh. Name one of the movies that was playing at the theater that Shelley was working at.
Damn it. I noticed this, like, not the time we watched it now, but like the time before. I was trying to read what it said. Isn't one of them like The Dead Don't Die or something like that?
Something like that. I think one of them is They Bite.
Yeah, They Bite. I didn't care about any of that. All I cared about was that Shelley was dancing in the lobby.
Yeah.
Do you have any opinions on that scene?
No.
Yeah, we got an email.
We got an email.
Yeah, it doesn't say who it's from, so we'll just say it's from Lila Loomis. That's what we'll say. That's who we'll say it's from.
Lila Loomis.
So Lila Loomis says, "Thanks for being so entertaining. Aww. My question is this. It's my first Christmas without a significant other. While I feel really strong in who I am and where I am right now, right where I should be, I still wish I had someone to share this holiday with. Any ideas on some healthy coping skills? Signed, Single on Purpose." So I guess she did sign it.
Thanks,
Lila.
Single on Purpose. It sounds like, I mean, you're not just like moping around, like struggling to be in a relationship or something. It's of your own accord, and you're a strong, independent person. And
well, do you have anyone in your life, family, friends, pets, anyone that that you have a deep connection with? Because I would say spend as much time with them as you can.
Yeah.
Or if you need to turn on the TV and watch like a Hallmark movie or something, do that. If you want to watch like Twilight or something like that.
Yeah, especially if you have family. And I know it's hard at this time in the season and year and pandemic and everything, but if you can make time for some Zoom calls or just phone calls or whatever, reach out to some people, maybe make some old connections, new connections again, and reconnect with people. That's what I found myself wanting to do a lot, is reach out to people I haven't talked to in a while and see what's up.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But also, if you're feeling independent, you can just go be selfish, do things for yourself, buy yourself all the Christmas presents you'd ever want. The world's getting better. Great things are going to be happening. And I know that you'll have more chances to be with significant others later on in your life. And the thing to do now is enjoy living alone, being with yourself, and being with others who care about you. Some movies I would recommend for you would be something like How to Be Single, maybe something like Frozen, or Frozen 2. It's about just two ladies finding their own way. There's not much romance going on with Elsa, that is. Like, watch something where the lead character is just real super badass, does whatever they want. But we thank you so much for emailing us. We know that this will be coming out after the holidays, so I hope they were really great for you. Tell your friends. Y'all can email us at filmtherapypodcast@gmail.com for some advice, or if you just want to hit us up, you can.
Thanks, Lila. I don't have anything else with this email. I just thought of something interesting that I saw recently, but it has nothing to do with this. I didn't want to cut into our time here. But yeah, so.
Oh, did you want to talk about what movies we watched this week?
I have two. So the first movie I watched was Trainspotting 2. And if you recall from a few episodes back, I really liked the first movie. I did not like the second movie. Maybe it was my mood, maybe it was because it was like later in the day, but I just felt like the first movie had its unpleasant scenes, but I felt like they were purposeful to the movie, and the movie left me with like a good vibe. I'm glad I watched that. It gave me like a good feeling, even though it's kind of, not necessarily a feel good movie. The second movie, it was similar because it was the same. I think it was the same writers too, but I'm pretty sure it was the same director, same actors returning. It was made 20 years later. It felt like it had a purpose for being made, but it was just so damn unpleasant and gross and just kind of boring, and I couldn't connect with it, and I was confused as to what was going on, and I really wanted to know more about what happened between the two movies rather than, you know, what happens in the second movie. Yeah, so I didn't care for it, unfortunately, but maybe somebody else will if they watch it. But the first one is still enjoyable. I still say watch it. And then I had not seen, then it was on Amazon Prime, and my cousin had recently watched the original Footloose, so which I had seen a long time ago, but neither of us had seen the remake, so we watched the remake.
Oh, what'd you think?
It wasn't awful. It was okay.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. Have you seen either of them?
Mm-hmm. Both of them.
Yeah. So what do you think of the remake then?
Yeah, same as you.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
Yeah, decent.
yeah, it's decent. It's basically the same movie. And then after that, since I had seen the original in high school and wasn't really a fan of it, my cousin was like, "Hey, you know, let's watch it again. Maybe you'll have a reevaluation of it, change your opinion." And I'm like, you know, that's a good thought. Let's watch it. So we watched the original last night, I think, or last night. And it's okay. It's all right. I probably like it just as much as I did originally, or maybe a little bit more. I remember my big problem with it being like what, because before it I had seen like Breakfast Club and Say Anything and Ferris Bueller and, you know, like John Hughes, Cameron Crowe, those kind of movies, and they were all real, and 16 Candles and stuff, and they were all like really funny, but then they had their like deeper moments that I resonated with. And with Footloose, I'm like, I just didn't really feel a connection to it. The premise is for either version is really silly, so you gotta just go with it. The greatest yet funniest scene is when Kevin Bacon is really angry and he does this angry dance. It's amazing, and then the song is great too. It's like never, 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 never. And it's Kevin Bacon like moving down, like flailing his arms, going backwards down like a path. What's it called? Like a mill or something. And it's great.
Yeah.
The music just times it so well. And he's like swinging on chains and stuff. And then he's like drinking, smoking a cigarette, like chucks his drink and like, and then he just starts like, takes his shirt off and starts like run dancing. It's incredible. It was worth the money to watch it again. Like, I know the premise is silly and I knew that going into it, but I just, for some reason, I can just take it or leave it. I don't have, like with a lot of 80s movies, I usually have like a deeper connection to it, and I'm like, you know, man, I really relate to one thing here or one thing here, and this movie just kind of leaves me like dry, and I don't really know why, I guess.
You want to know a fun fact?
You don't like it either?
I mean, I mean, yeah, I'm about the same with you. It's just kind of like, yeah, that's a fine movie. But
it's fine.
In the original 80s version, you know, they start the movie off with a bunch of feet doing dancing.
Yes.
And remember Emily, our guest we had on here?
Yeah.
One of her mom's friends was one of the feet, I believe.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
That's really cool. No, I like the movie just a tad bit more.
I keep getting it confused with Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing's better, hands down.
Yeah.
So much better. Because Dirty Dancing has Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey, and I feel the romance more in that movie than this one.
Who's the girl in the original Footloose?
Oh, Lori something. Lori Singer is her name.
Oh, okay. I can't even picture her.
No.
Nah. You're like, not even worth it.
No, don't worry about it. But yeah, I just remember being like, okay, so the movie ends with like a fight, but like it's not like The Outsiders where it's like where the whole movie is like hinging on it. It's just like, oh, this is how we defeat the bad guy, and then I'm like, it's fine, but it's not like, I mean, y'all just can't sit in the library and talk about your differences. Or you can't like go to your girlfriend's house and hold a boombox up, or you can't like have the exchange student tell the guy you like that you're getting married when it's really your sister getting married. You can't like realize the girl you've been on the road trip with the whole time is the one you really want to be with. You know, your crazy uncle's actually kind of cool. Come on, any of those options would have been better, but. You know, it is what it is, and it's not bad, but it's, I'll say it's good, but like on the minimalist level of good, where I'm like, it's passable.
Yeah. Okay.
And I feel very similar to about both versions.
Yeah.
There's things I like better in each iteration, but they're both about the same. Can't get over that image of Kevin Bacon like moving.
I know.
And he's moving backwards too. It's so great.
I wish I could be that good of a dancer when I'm angry.
Yeah, me too. And he's like pissed off. He's like he drives there, cranks up his radio, doesn't give a shit, just starts dancing. It's great. It's cinema. What did you watch?
I watched The Big Lebowski
I'm not surprised.
because I had not seen it in a very long time, and I didn't remember a thing about it. I was like, I know that he likes White Russians and he goes bowling. That's it.
All I remember is the
And I'm
bowling.
getting to that point in my life where I've seen a bunch of movies, but now it's been so long since I've seen these movies, I don't remember them. So now I have to rewatch them, and I feel like I'm wasting my time because there's so many movies to watch.
I feel the
but
exact same way.
Yeah, it sucks.
It doesn't. It sucks, but it doesn't. Like, it's great.
Yeah, because that's a good movie. It was very fun. I was like, wow, I really enjoyed this movie.
Well, that's just your opinion, man.
That's just like your opinion, man. Yeah, I love the way they talk. John Goodman, oh my gosh, his character though, I hate him so much. Oh my gosh, he's an animal. Ugh. But yeah, Jeff Bridges is amazing in it.
As he is in pretty much everything.
I was trying to think of other movies he's in besides.
He's in Tron. He's in Tron 2. He's in he's in True Grit, I think. The remake of True Grit.
Oh.
He's in what the fuck else is Jeff Bridges in?
No, I know. Isn't he in
Iron
one of
Man.
the
He's in
Iron Man?
yes.
I know I've seen him in something else. Oh, Surf's Up.
He's in Surf's Up.
Oh yeah, dude.
Apparently he's in Spider-Man Far From Home. I did not know that.
Oh, okay.
He's in Kingsman, the second Kingsman. He's in Seabiscuit.
Oh, Hell or High Water.
He's in Against All Odds. Don't watch that.
The Giver. Oh, he plays the Giver. Yeah, that's all I watched this week.
Just Big Lebowski.
I started a movie that I'm going to finish hopefully sometime soon. It's on Hulu. I'll be talking about that next time. Probably.
Is it The Happiest Season 2?
Yeah, they already came out with a sequel.
Great. Secretly filmed it during COVID, just like Robert Rodriguez. Filmed Shark Boy 2 without Taylor Lautner.
Oh, psh. How dare he?
It wasn't his fault. It was the production manager's fault for scheduling it on days that he couldn't be there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Let's end this train wreck. So next week we do have a guest, right? That's next time.
Yay!
And the movie we are prescribing is The Shawshank Redemption, which is also a incredible 5-star movie. So go home and watch it. If you haven't seen it, you absolutely should.
I'm very excited.
Yeah. So you have you seen it before?
Yes. But again, it's one of those movies where I don't remember a single thing. So
Sweet.
I have to watch it again. So thank you for joining us again this week on Film Therapy.
It was a very crazy week.
Crazy week, everybody. But, happy 2021.
Yeehaw.
Go down to the rodeo.